And now let's talk about the skeleton of the arm. As we know, the arm is that part from the shoulder to the elbow, and there is only one bone, and the name of that bone is humerus. The humerus is quite long bone. It extends from the shoulder and it goes down to the elbow. The humerus articulates with the scapula, and this joint called the gleno-humeral joint. Basically, what it is, the glenoid joint, it is this. There is this glenoid cavity, very shallow cavity of the scapula, and quite round head of the humerus. And why it is so? Why do you have so shallow cavity and so round head? And the reason why is because it makes it more mobile. So you understand that there is this shallow cavity and very round head of the humerus, and it makes it more mobile and more moving. It's multi-axial joint. It means that it can be moved in a various directions. The head of the humerus sits under acromion process, so it's more like it's kind of like a covered with it. And from the other side, from the medial side, there is this coracoid process which closes the structure. How much from the head of the humerus we can see on the body? Actually, we can see quite a lot, especially if it's a female, because the female usually have less musculature, and so you can see more of the bones. So note there is this kind of like a round ball kind of structure sticking out from the skin. You can see it even if the person is quite fit. So basically, let's see closer what is inside in the shoulder. So the highest point of the shoulder and the most sharp point is this acromial end of the clavicle, as we already know. So then there is this flat area with the acromion process, and then there is round area, ball-shaped area, which is created by the head of the humerus. So we have distal end of the clavicle, then we have flat, and then we have round. And this roundness is created by the head of the humerus. Flatness is created by the acromial process, and this sharp end is the distal end of the clavicle. And if we go lower, we see another bump here, and this bump is created by the mass of the deltoid muscle. So note that the thickness of the deltoid muscle on the head of the humerus is quite thin, so we see the bone sticking out, even if the person is quite physically fit. Even then, the most of the muscle mass is located lower. Even if we see deltoid muscle comes from the clavicle and it's quite long, the most of the muscle bulk is lower, located lower. And the deltoid muscle, it is connected to the lateral third of the clavicle. And on the acromion process, on the spine of the scapula on the back side, but it inserts into the deltoid tuberosity. And it's approximately a little bit over the middle of the humerus. So it's the total height of the humerus from the elbow to the shoulder. So a little bit higher than the middle, you have this deltoid tuberosity where the deltoid muscle inserts. Now let's look at the elbow joint. What we know about the elbow joint now. There is like a medial epicondyle, which is very much sticking out. There is a lateral epicondyle, which is sitting inside, which is covered by the muscles. And then there is a olecranon, or elbow. If you look at it from the front, you can still see the medial epicondyle. It's still protruding, it's still sticking out the bone. So the lateral epicondyle, as already mentioned, is sitting under the muscles. So there are two muscles here, brachioradialis and extensor carpialis longus. And the lateral epicondyle is kind of inside the gap between the olecranon or elbow and these two muscles. brachioradialis and extensor carporadialis longus. So now let's look at the elbow joint from the sides. In the previous image you saw the left elbow. In this case it is right elbow. It is the right arm. So this is a medial epicondyle, which sits more closer to the body. This is olecranon. And as you notice, when you straighten your arm, olecranon moves away. So therefore the distance from the elbow to the shoulder increases. So therefore, if the arm is bent, the arm is longer, and if the arm is straightened, if we measure from the elbow, it is shorter. So basically you have to keep that in mind. You have to remember the size of the arm is changing. By bending your elbow, the size of the arm increases. And there's another thing what I wanted to mention. It is this groove inside. So basically you have this hook shape, which is this olecranon bony part. And when you straighten your arm, it goes into this notch called olecranon fossa, and it fixates the elbow. So if you straighten, you can't move it backwards, as you know.